What if Wednesday is upon us, and there's a whole lot of what ifs for Carolina this season. So I'm excited to see what you have in store for me today.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast. It's the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks so much for making us your first listener watch to get your Wednesday going the right way. Coming up on the show today, I want to give a shout out to all the everydayers who are here with us, all the great members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord. I'm about to give them another shout out, and our Locked On Tar Heels insiders as well. It's great to have everybody here gathered. Let's get into it. Coming up on the show today, it is our first What If Wednesday of the offseason. We do these usually in the last couple Wednesdays leading up to the season, and today's the first one. I'm very excited. I'll explain it in just a second. First, the ACC preseason poll and awards came out on Tuesday. Coach Rob and I will touch on those more on Thursday, so if you're looking for that, be with us tomorrow. So here's what we do in What If Wednesday. For those of you watching, you can see it on YouTube. I've got this great little, I don't even know what color bowl it is, but I have in here a whole bunch of what if scenarios offered up by members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord. And I'm going to pull out one per segment and then unpack whatever the what if is on there, right? So it could be anything. What if Carolina is not good this year? What happens to Coach Davis? What if Luka Bogavac shoots 40% from three? Those kind of things. And then I'll just answer it. So I asked for those in Discord. I wrote them all down, threw them in here, and we're going to see what comes out. Should be a lot of fun. And I got it. I got my trusty baseball with me as always as well. So let's dive right in. By the way, if you want to join us in the Locked On Tar Heels Discord and have the opportunity to help with the show in ways like this, come join us. That link's in the show notes. Absolutely free to join. All right, here we go. First, what if? Ooh, baby. I love this. I love it when you guys help put the show together. This makes me so happy. All right, pulling out the very first one of our first What If Wednesday of this lead up to the season. What if Seth Trimble plays like the Memphis game all year? And that comes from LaRosia DDW. Thank you so much for submitting that one. It's our first one. What if Seth Trimble plays like the Memphis game all year? Boy, that's going to be a fun one. Let's talk about it. The short answer is if Seth does that, oh, baby, watch out, because this season is going to be bonkers. Let me remind everyone of what this is, this Memphis game. Last year, Carolina played at Memphis in a true road exhibition game. RJ Davis had been banged up in the blue-white scrimmage, so he was out, and so Seth took over. Let me remind you, if I may, of his line from that game. 33 points. 33 points from Seth. 11 of 17 from the field, 3 of 5 from beyond the arc, 8 of 8 at the free throw line. There was your first indication that his free throws were going to be a lot better. 1 rebound, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 2 steals in 33 minutes of action. Oh my goodness, Seth Trimble. So that's why LaRosia DDW is saying, and I don't even know if that's how you pronounce your username. I've always wondered, but there you go. If Seth does that, it elevates both Carolina's floor and their ceiling. I have been fervent in saying all offseason long that I truly believe that Seth, and he's talked about this on this offseason too, he was never fully Seth after he returned to action from missing games 13, 14, and 15 of last season with the head injury. To that point, let me remind you that it was not just a one-off in the Memphis game. Even once RJ was back playing, in the first 12 games of the season before Seth was out with his injury, let me remind you of his point totals in those games. You ready? 15, 19, 13, 13, 27, that's Dayton, 17, 9, 12, 19, 10, 11, and 12. That's right. First 12 games of last season, Seth Trimble averaged 14.8 points a game as I'm looking at my stat sheet here. 11 of those 12 games, he scored in double figures, and in just one of the one that he didn't, he had 9 points. Looking at Seth's chart, he hit at least 1 3 in 10 of those 12 games. His some shooting averages for the season last year. Let me just pull this back up real quick. Stand by with me here. Seth Trimble last year for the season from the free throw line shot 82.4%. In those first 12 games, he shot 84.8%. Last year for the season from beyond the arc, Seth shot 26.6%. In those first 12 games, 38.5%. He was cooking. And that's not even including that 3 of 5 in the Memphis game. Seth, 1.8 steals per game in those first 12, 1.4 season long, right? So you and stick with me, think of it this way. Those season averages are including those 12 games. So if you take out those 12 games, Seth 82.4% free throw tumbles. All of those go down, right? All that to say, if Seth is able to replicate that in any way, shape, or form, I mean, the other thing too is you combine that with a roster that I think puts Seth in a better position to succeed this year because he's got front court guys that are going to demand more attention, more gravity. Also, they're floor spacers, or should be, which opens the lane for Seth. You've also got 2 other guys, I think, starting alongside him in the backcourt in Kyan Evans and Luka Bogavac that also spread the defense and have a lot of gravity, opening up more lanes for Seth, giving Seth better looks from 3. And even when those starters on in, Jarin Stevenson should do a lot of that. Jonathan Powell should do a lot of that. So I fully expect that version of Seth that we saw in the first 12 games of last year. That's not a what if for me. That's a when. The question is, can Seth, who has been banged up from time to time in his career at Carolina, stay healthy enough season long to be able to put up those kind of numbers? Another question for this with me would be, what if the 3-point shooting is inconsistent? Well, there's all these other things that Seth can contribute so well that allow him to succeed well. Now, he's got to knock down open threes to keep defenses honest so he can have those driving lanes, so that he can have those assists. Defensively, it's going to be there. But this question is, what if Seth performs like the Memphis game all season? Legitimately, this is a top 10, top 5 team with Final Four / national championship and ACC aspirations. Carolina being 3rd in the ACC preseason projection behind Duke and Louisville. If that version of Seth, no, Carolina is your number 1 team. I mean, plain and simple, that's what it is, right? Because I feel like nationally, everyone's talking about the things that Caleb Wilson can do, and Henri Veesaar, and Luka, and Kyan, and Jonathan Powell, and rightly so. But Seth has been an afterthought offensively for so many people. And I think that's the heart of the question here, right? Like the heart of this what if is, sure, Seth's going to do what he's going to do defensively, but what if we get that offensive output from him as well? Carolina will be Carolina. That's what that means. And Hubert Davis is going to be a very happy man, and everyone around the nation that has slept on the Tar Heels is going to eat their words. That's what that means. That's what the answer to this what if is. If Seth's doing Memphis, Seth, ACC championships, 1 seeds, and more. Great question. Great start to What If Wednesday. Now, coming up next, again, I don't know what's coming out of this bowl, but there's going to be more. Can't wait to see what you all have in store for me coming up next with What If Wednesday as we carry on. Right after I tell you about Mazda, who crafts cars for those who do more than just smooth. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details, and Mazda brings that same level of intention to how they craft every single model. You can feel that incredible Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Nappa leather upholstery. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season, because with Mazda, everyday drives feel like anything but. From smooth handling to the intuitive controls, man, it's all there for you. And like the Tar Heel players, Mazda sweats every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. This episode is also brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs, with tools that help you plan, that help you stay motivated, that help you reach your peak performance, which we're all trying to get to. And I love how the Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching. I need it because it tracks your reps. It suggests the right weights for those of us, that aren't great at picking the right weights to use. It corrects your form in helping to make every rep safer and smarter. That's so good. And the personalized class recommendations help keep you engaged, because you get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level each week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Okay, let's carry on with What If Wednesday. It's the first one of the offseason. Got a bowl full of suggestions from you guys for the what ifs. Again, if you want to contribute to that, come join us in the Locked On Tar Heels Discord. All right, here we go. Shuffling the bowl. Let's see what's coming out next. What if the team is top 10 in defense and offense this season? And that comes from Trav. Thanks, Trav. What if the team is top 10 in defense and offense this season? That's a great one from Trav. Heck, if the team is top 10 in either one of those categories, it's going to be similar to what we were just talking about if Seth Trimble is Memphis Seth Trimble, because they're going to be in great shape. What's interesting is most recently the unit for Carolina that's been the most in, the best was the defense 2 years ago when Carolina was top 10. In fact, they were 8th at KenPom in defensive efficiency that season, but the offense wasn't that far behind. They were 15th in offensive efficiency. And that translated to an ACC regular season championship. That translated to a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, all of that great stuff. But you're asking me, what if they're top 10 in both? That's nuts. It's funny. I actually have notes on this kind of thing. So let me pull it up real quick, because my memory serves, there have been a lot of close calls on Carolina being top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. And what we're going to do here is let's use KenPom offensive and defensive efficiency rankings to see how Carolina has done. Because that's the best and most consistent place to find that. But to kind of answer your question, even outside of the stats, if Carolina is top 10 in both of these things, that means everything is clicking. The roster construction has come together in the way that we hoped it would. It means defensively that they're rangy. The length is doing what it's supposed to do. It means that they're challenging ball handlers, right? Like Seth, as a point of attack defender, is doing everything he needs to do, as is, Jonathan Powell and Kyan Evans. They're doing their job. Derek Dixon with his size. It means the front court, that Jarin Stevenson and Henri Veesaar and Caleb Wilson are defending the rim so that the backcourt guards can know, hey, I've got help behind me that I didn't have last year. It means that defensively, they're playing great team concepts. Offensively, if they're top 10, it means they're moving at a good rate, but they're being efficient. It means that Kyan Evans and Derek Dixon behind him and Seth and Luka, as they need to, are running the team well, getting everybody lined up and in place. And it means the attack, the transition attack, that's the word I'm looking for, is doing what it needs to do. It means that the shooters that we expect to knock down shots are, and that the front court is doing it at least at a decent clip. It means that Carolina is sharing the ball and moving the ball really well. It means that rebounding is happening like it's supposed to be, because there's not an Armando Bacot out there. It's kind of, Everybody's going to have to do it. So while I've been talking there, that's given me a chance to pull up some of these KenPom numbers. KenPom right now goes back to the 1996-97 season. And in that span, which is what, 96, 06, 16, 20. So just shy of 3 decades of data, there have been 2 seasons where Carolina finished the year top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency at KenPom. It'd be a fun moment actually to pause the podcast and you can guess what those seasons were. I don't know. I mean, you might get them. I think you will maybe get one of them, but maybe not the other. Because as I look at it, I would have guessed at least one of them I would have been wrong on. The 2 answers, I'm going to give it to you in 3, 2, 1. Good. If you didn't have a chance to pause, I gave you a little break there. Interestingly, they both happened very early in the Roy Williams era. One of those was the national championship season of 04-05. Carolina finished 2nd in offensive efficiency and 5th in defensive efficiency. And then the other one was just 2 years later, the 06-07 season, where Carolina frustratingly lost the lead to Georgetown in the Elite 8 and lost in overtime. They were 3rd in offensive efficiency and 4th in defensive efficiency. So both those seasons, not only were they top 10 in both, they were top 5 in both. That's insanity. But when I look at this as well, I'm also looking at other seasons where maybe they weren't top 10 at both, but in both offense and defense, but maybe they were top 10 in one and top 20, top 25-ish in another. In fact, let me go back to the beginning of the KenPom era and just run through some of those seasons and tell you the outcome. 96-97, Carolina was 1st offense, 21st in defense. That year, they won the ACC tournament. They were a 1 seed. They lost to Arizona in the Final Four, eventual national champion Arizona. The next season, 97-98, they were 1st offense, 14th defense. Almost identical. Won the ACC tournament, 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, lost to Utah in the Final Four. There you go. Another year, 2000-2001, they were 22nd offense, 8th defense. They were 2 seed that year, lost to Penn State in the 2nd round. Annoying there. I just said at 04-05, this is when they were top 5 in both. 1 seed, won the ACC regular season, won the NCAA championship. 2 years later, the 06-07, when I said they were 3rd and 4th in offense and defense. 1 seed, won the ACC tournament, won the ACC regular season championship, and then lost to Georgetown in the Elite 8. That was Hansborough's sophomore year. By the way, Tyler Hansborough coming on the show next week. Buckle up. That's going to be fun. 07-08. They were 1st in offense, 14th in defense. That's the year they got blitzed by Kansas in the Final Four, but they won both ACC championships, tournament and regular season, a 1 seed. That was the year all 4 1 seeds, the first of 2 years that all 4 1 seeds made the Final Four. 08-09, the championship year, 1st in offense, 18th in defense, 1 seed, won the ACC regular season, won the NCAA championship. 2011 and 12, they weren't top 10 in either, but they were 12th in O, 11th in D. That was another year that, frustratingly, that was the Kendall Marshall injury. John Henson was banged up, lost to Kansas in the Elite 8, but they won the ACC regular season championship. They were a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Without that injury, they're probably playing Kentucky in the national championship game. 15-16, they were 1st in offense, 21st in defense. National runner-up, we don't have to talk about that game, but 1 seed, they won both the regular and ACC tournament championships. Great stuff there. The next year, 9th in offense, 11th in defense. Won the national championship. They were 1 seed. They won the ACC regular season. 18-19. We're almost done here. 2018-19 season. That's Kobe White. That's Luke May. That whole team. 1 seed, shared the ACC regular season championship. Lost to Auburn in the Sweet 16. That was the year they got that illness from, was it Iona in the first round? So annoying. That team deserved better. And then 23-24 season, 15th in offense, 8th in defense. Carolina won the regular season ACC championship, a 1 seed, and then lost to Bama in the Sweet 16. All of that to tell you, if you're bored with stats, I apologize, but I just want you to see that with this what if Carolina is top 10 in both of these things, this is a historic season for the Tar Heels that they have in store. It's interesting, as I've been talking through this, I've been trying to think which is more likely, the offense or defense, to be top 10. I actually think it's the defense, where Carolina projects to be phenomenal if they buy in and do all the things that we talked about just a little bit ago. But this team has that potential, man. And if they pull off the what if that Trav asked about, we're talking ACC championships, we're talking 1 seeds, we're talking second weekend at least, but probably Final Four. Man, Trav, I would love it if that happened. All right. Yeah, we got one more what if to do. We're going to do that in segment 3 coming up in just a second. Can't wait to see what we pull out next. And we're going to do that in just a second. Right after I tell you about Wayfair, y'all, the holidays are going to be here before you know it. I mean, like Christmas Day is 2 months and 10 days away from right now. That's insanity. And that's exciting. But getting your house ready for guests and celebrations, man, is such a heavy weight to bear. Maybe your silverware needs a refresh. Maybe the guest room could use new bedding. Maybe your front porch needs new holiday decorations. I don't know. And if so, Wayfair has everything you need to make your house holiday ready. From Christmas trees to wreaths to bedding, cookware, outdoor inflatables, what's up? It's your one-stop shop for every room in your house and outside it. Wayfair makes it easy to personalize your home for the holidays with a huge selection for every style and every budget. And with free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff, you can get everything you need without the hassle of huge delivery fees. So now, instead of stressing about getting the house ready, you can actually enjoy the holidays with friends, enjoy the holidays with family. So get organized, get refreshed, and get ready for the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. Again, that's wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. This episode is also brought to you by Supply House. Y'all, when the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. They have real-time inventory and honest lead times to help keep you from punting projects, while they've also got industry-leading customer service that's always going to have your blind side covered. Do you need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer, man. That's incredible. They've also got a part finder tool and 3D schematics that can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Their Trademaster perks like priority shipping, dedicated support are going to make the whole process smoother for you. So join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. Again, that's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. All right, one more What If Wednesday question coming from you guys. I forgot to throw the last one away. That's my favorite part. I finish it up and float away. There we go. Okay, last one. Let's shake the bowl around and see what comes out. All right, here is our last What If Wednesday of our first What If of the offseason. What if, and I've actually got 2 on this sheet because 2 people asked a very similar what if. What if Henri Veesaar and or Jarin Stevenson don't develop into good defensive rebounders? That comes from our buddy, the Nintendo Nerd. Thank you, Connor. Much appreciated. And the other one is similar. It says, what if we don't rebound up to Carolina standards? That comes from Chuck G. So Nintendo Nerd, Chuck G, thank you guys for that submission. The answer very simply is, what if Veesaar and or Jarin Stevenson don't develop into good defensive rebounders? What if we don't rebound up to Carolina standards? It's not going to be the season that we talked about in those first 2 segments. If Carolina, first off, with all the length and height and capability that Carolina added this offseason, if it's not a dramatic improvement from last year's woeful rebounding numbers, Carolina is going to be in a bad way. Let me pull up Ken Palm from last year. Carolina offensive rebounding percentage, and I know the first question from Nintendo was about defensive stuff. Carolina last year, 29.1% offensive rebound percentage, which is 206th nationally. That's not good enough. And so let's start with Nintendo Nerd's question about specifically Veesaar and Jarin Stevenson. I'm going to pull up some of their numbers to look at this because, again, Nintendo talked specifically about defensive rebounding percentage. I'm also going to pull up Armando Bacot's numbers because he's the quintessential Carolina rebounder that we're obviously going to judge everyone else up against. So Armando Bacot, for his career, this is insane, had a 25.4% defensive rebounding percentage, meaning he was gobbling up 1 out of every 4 available defensive rebounds. His single season high was the year that Carolina, Hubert Davis's first year where Carolina went to the national championship game, 30% defensive rebounding percentage. I mean, what are we doing here? That led the ACC, but also he led the ACC in offensive rebounding percentage that year and total rebounding percentage, which was 22%. So again, Armando Bacot for his career, 25.4% defensive rebounding percentage. When you compare that to Henri Veesaar and Jarin Stevenson. For Veesaar, last year he was 14.5% defensive rebounding percentage. His first year at Arizona, 14.3. His career is 14.4. Again, Armando, 25.4. So 11 percentage points higher than Veesaar was. Jarin Stevenson in his 2 years at Alabama, slightly lower than Veesaar. His freshman year, 12.8 defensive rebounding percentage. Last year, 12.3 for a career average of 12.6. So you combine those two guys together and you get about 26%, but that's not how the math works, right? And so to Nintenderd's great point, both of these guys are going to have to develop into more dynamic defensive rebounders, because if they don't, it's going to be incumbent upon Seth Trimble to do it again like he did last year, where he, for a lot of the season, was Carolina's leading rebounder before Van Allen Lubin eclipsed him just towards the end. That's not going to cut it. These guys, both Veesaar and Stevenson, are going to have to take a step forward. They've got it. Like, rebounding defensively is all about will and want to and desire. The other piece of it, though, is that you do have this freshman named Caleb Wilson coming in. He's a defensive-minded guy. We obviously don't have his rebounding percentage numbers from last year yet because it's his first year in college. He's going to be a critical part of this equation as well. And so we've got to watch for all of these guys to take a step forward. Now, I'm not expecting Henri Veesaar or Jarin Stevenson or Caleb Wilson to get to the level of the greatest, the all-time leading rebounder in Carolina history, right? Like, that's not fair of me to expect that of them or any of us. But if they could even just take a little bit of a step forward, right? Like if Henri Veesaar could go from 14.4% defensive rebounding percentage to 18, getting closer to 20, that'd be great. Stevenson, if he could get to 15, if Caleb Wilson, with his dynamic athleticism, keep in mind, in this day and age, with so many three-point shots, it's about not only big guys, but it's about big guys who can move in space to get out of their area and go get a rebound. Caleb Wilson projects to do that much more capably than Henri Veesaar does. The other question with this, though, is the offensive rebounding, because that's where Carolina teams have been historically great, particularly in the Roy Williams era. The Hubert Davis era Carolina teams have not been dynamic offensive rebounding teams. It's just not been as critical a part of what they do. Also, keep in mind that we haven't seen like two traditional bigs in Hubert Davis era. There's a little bit more of that this year. I mean, neither Wilson nor Veesaar nor Stevenson are traditional bigs in a Armando Bacot, Deion Thompson, Kennedy Meeks sort of way. But they are the front court, and they are a bigger front court, and so one that projects Carolina to have that more size. So what it's going to mean is that those guys have to take a step up. It's going to mean that Carolina, with their better length and athleticism this year, is going to have to rely on Jonathan Powell, is going to have to rely on a big guard in Derek Dixon, right? Like multiple guys. We already know Seth can do it at a high level, and that's going to be critical. But also, Carolina is going to have to hit the offensive glass hard. And that's a way they can get easy putbacks, easy points, right? Like how often in Carolina, Roy Williams era was like, dude, just get a shot up and go get it and put it back. So again, Armando Bacot, as a career, 13.5% offensive rebounder. Jarin Stevenson, 5%. Not what he does well. Jarin Stevenson, Henri Veesaar, a little bit closer to Armando. Again, Armando 13.5, Veesaar 11.4. So Stevenson does not project to be a guy that's going to get a lot of offensive rebound opportunities. Veesaar, though, does, and he needs to. I think Caleb Wilson's a guy. Obviously, again, we don't have the data on him yet, but he, to me, projects to be a guy that's going to offensive rebound at a high level. So all that to bring it back to the questions, what if Carolina doesn't rebound up to Carolina standards? That's going to cost them 3 games on the season. And that's just me pulling a number out, right? But like night in, night out, it might not hurt you. But 3, 4, 5 total rebounds a game, and obviously the tempo dependent, right? Like Carolina will probably play faster again this year, meaning more possessions, meaning more made shots and missed shots, meaning more opportunities. And that's why it's important to talk rebounding percentages, not just total rebounds. But if Carolina doesn't rebound to their standard, they will lose multiple games that they could have won, that they otherwise would have won. And if Veesaar and Jarin Stevenson don't develop into good defensive rebounders to Nintendo nerds, what if? Then that's going to make Caleb Wilson have to do it all the more. That's going to make the guards have to do it all the more. And that's not what you... Yes, Carolina's going to send a bunch of people to the glass, and that'll be great. But if Veesaar and Stevenson and Wilson prove capable of being rebound hogs, that allows the guards and the wings to leak out. That leads to pitch aheads and transition buckets. And that's what's missing if those guys can't do it. Does that make sense? So if Carolina can't rebound and those guys can't do it, it hurts them. It puts Carolina in a big bind. Got to rebound at a high level this year. Great what ifs from everybody. Thank you so much. Let's get rid of this one. Crumpling it up. Thanks, guys. Boom. There's our first What If Wednesday. We'll get back to it next Wednesday. Can't wait for that. I believe we're going to have a guest next time we do it. That'll be so much fun. If you haven't joined the Locked On Tar Heels Discord channel, we'd love to see you. You can contribute to next week's and any other weeks we do this as well. Links in the show notes. Also in the show notes, if you want to be a Locked On Tar Heels insider, oh baby, come on in. The water's fine. That link is also in the show notes. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube and audio, do that right now so you don't miss a second. If you want to send me an email, lockedontarheels@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you in the lead up to the season. You guys, it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again tomorrow with Coach Rob. But until then, peace.